The Credit Show podcast with Harry Jacobs starts now.
Got a major collection agency that's in the spotlight now, got themselves in trouble. Boy, that Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been active and on the case, especially with collection agencies. There's a company called Phoenix Financial Services, not based in Phoenix, actually. They're in Illinois somewhere. But the CFPB took action against them for illegal medical debt collection and credit reporting processes and practices. What happened here was Phoenix got nailed for numerous debt collection and credit reporting violations. In thousands of cases, this company, Phoenix Financial, continued to attempt or to collect on a debt that wasn't substantiated after a consumer disputed the validity of the debt. Even during that validation period that we talk about, where you know because you listen to the show and you take notes, you're studious. You know that they can't ask you to make a payment while the debt's being validated. And they did that. That was one of the things. Phoenix has to pay what's called redress to affected consumers. That when someone says redress, it's another way of saying refund. And they've also got to pay $1.675 million to the government, to the CFPB's Victim Relief Fund. Rohit Chopra, who's the CFPB director, said, with medical debt looming over so many American families, we're taking action against companies that are illegally profiting off of patients. Phoenix collects, primarily medical debts. It's not their only area, but they also furnish information on consumers to consumer reporting agencies, right? Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Between 2017, January of 17 and December of 20, Phoenix received approximately, this is a huge number, 54.4 million accounts, medical accounts, that were allegedly outstanding and owed debts between patients and doctors' offices. In a report that was published last year, the CFPB found that 43 million consumers had medical bills on their credit. And altogether, American families owed $88 billion in medical bills. Isn't that crazy? $88 billion in medical bills. Medical debt affects people's ability to, access affordable credit, right? You can't find housing, even obtain a job. And I'll tell you that because it affects your credit score. So it impacts all of those things. So when people say medical debt affects people's access to affordable credit and housing and a job and all that stuff, how does a medical bill affect it? Well, it affects it because your score goes down. And if your score goes down, that means you may lose out on a house, mortgage or rent. May be an issue getting a job, getting transportation, a car, whatever it is. One of the findings of the research that the CFPB did is that many consumers that had medical trade lines on their credit reports are having these issues with information that's inaccurate. So when inaccurate or false information is willfully being provided to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, that can be a form of coercing patients to pay bills. You don't know what to do when something pops up on your credit report. In other words, well, I'll pay it. I need my credit. The CFPB investigation found that Phoenix sent collection letters to consumers who disputed the debts, the accuracy of the debt, said it wasn't valid. Even though Phoenix hadn't obtained or substantiated the debt, debt collectors are required to have a reasonable basis for asserting that a consumer owes a purported debt if a dispute is submitted. Phoenix's sending of unlawful debt collection letters is actually pressuring or inducing consumers to pay debts that they didn't owe or don't owe. In addition to sending those letters, they also provided that information to the credit reporting agencies. And here's where people end up in trouble with what we call credit or financial damages. Their failure to conduct an investigation, a reasonable investigation, which they're required to under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, likely resulted in many inaccuracies remaining on consumer credit reports and harmed consumers in a number of ways, not the least of which is a denial of credit based on their inaccurate reporting. So the CFPB found that Phoenix violated the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And they're implementing what's called Regulation V. I don't have the time to get into that, but that has to do with them not conducting a reasonable investigation of the disputes. So they're going to have to pay a whole bunch of money back, $1.67 million in redress. You got a medical collection with Phoenix Financial? Dig into it before you just pay it.
You've been listening to the Credit Show podcast with Harry Jacobs. If you need assistance with your credit, text CREDIT to 702-778-2000.